Javelina men's basketball fans, welcome to episode 15 of the Javelina men's basketball show. My name is Landin. I'm alongside Coach Johnny Estelle. The Javelinas are coming off two impressive road wins at Cameron and Midwestern State to improve to 12-3 in the Lone Star Conference. So, Coach, as we look back on these games, at Midwestern State, we saw an impressive effort from Chauncey Thomas, career-high 19 points, 9 for 9 at the free throw line. And then at Cameron, we got off to a very strong start and we're able to finish it off. What are your biggest takeaways from this weekend?
Well, I mean, I thought that we went into the games with an idea that, we needed the wins, in the race, to stay in the race. Every game is important. What I want to see from our team is for us to take the next step from an execution standpoint. And I think we did that. I think we had lulls in the games, both of them, but for the most part, there was better execution. There was better defensive play, especially in Midwestern at times. But, I just want our identity to be more clear as we're getting closer to, championship level basketball, which is at the end of this conference season. And
as coach, and I was reviewing the statistics of the LSC, and we're second in the league in points scored on us. And you've always been a firm believer of defense travels. What exactly does that mean, and are you seeing it from this team?
Well, yeah, I didn't travel too far up to Lawton, but, at the end of the day, it does travel. I think it allows you to have a chance to win a game in no matter what atmosphere. Offensively, I think sometimes the crowd can affect the way you shoot, because it makes you more nervous and this and that. So it can throw your shooting off. That's kind of an old school way of thinking it. But your defensive energy and pressure, you got to feed off the crowd, no matter if you're playing at home. So you still can score off of defense. So there's never going to be a game where it's 0-0. We understand that, and we're not trying to keep people play in the 50s. But we are trying to play a brand of basketball that on both sides of the ball, what I call balanced basketball, meaning that we can play good defense and also good offense.
And as coach, as you look on to the remainder of this season, 5 of our last 7 games are at home, including this weekend against St. Mary's and St. Edwards. What does that mean for this team, and what does that mean for Javelina Nation as they support this team as they get one step closer to their goal?
Man, St. Mary's is a good team. Man, we was down at halftime there. Had to fight like heck in the second half. And St. Edwards, they're the only team that's beaten West Texas, and they have a really good team. So, the luxury about playing in a good conference is every week you have to play for your life. And that's what the Lone Star Conference has always been, and it really is that way in basketball this year. So, they present different issues, meaning the way they play, personnel, but the objective is still in hand for the Javelinas is to win the ball game. So, we're preparing. We started yesterday on St. Mary's, and we'll continue today. We won't even talk about St. Edwards until Friday, or let me rephrase that, Thursday night after our game is over. But we just got to be ready, man. We just got to continue to fine-tune the little things and continue to play our brand of basketball.
And coach, as you look on this season, we've had a great season thus far, 16-5, 12-3, like I mentioned. How excited are you about this team, and as we enter probably the biggest month of basketball called March?
I told these guys I was a little tough on them after both games, to be really honest with you, and I know probably they didn't quite understand why. So as we got to Dallas, before we flew out the next morning, I brought them to my room. And I just told them why. I said, because I love them so much and they're so close to leaving something really special here, that I don't want us not to make it because of me neglecting the little things. And as the caretaker of this program, that's my job, is to make sure that we don't just get comfortable or complacent, that we continue to want to be better. They all embrace that. I think people don't quite understand. They may see the way I coach them hard, or we coach them hard, and think that, man, what kind of relationship you have. It's a very strong relationship, because off that court, we have a really strong bond that they understand what is my purpose here. My purpose is to not be their buddy and friend, but is to be their mentor and to push them to greatness. And this team, probably as much as any team I've coached here, besides probably the other team that went to the tournament, but collectively this team has met the standard pretty much in every capacity. I enjoy coaching these guys. They work hard. They they're good teammates. But probably the biggest thing, they embrace Texas A&M Kingsville at the university. They understand their role. The university push the Javelina brand forward, and they don't do it reluctantly. They do it, with pride. And that's kind of what I enjoy about this team. So the basketball aspect of it is why we're here. God brought us here through basketball. But we have a lot of work to do outside of basketball, and this team always answers the bell. And
one more special question. As we reflect on Super Bowl Sunday, they introduced the NFL Top 100,
yes.
and 3% of the 100 were Javelinas.
That's
Darrell
correct.
Green, Gene Upshaw, John Randall.
Correct.
I mean, whenever I talk about Darrell Green, people always tell me that's the best cornerback we've ever seen in the league.
Mm-hmm.
How special is that for this university to get that recognition on that big of a stage?
Well, I mean, as I was sitting there watching that, I was speechless. Jaden was sitting next to me. He was watching it, and my wife just happened to look over and says, "Wow, you almost got a tear in your eye. I mean, why are you feeling that way?" And she never played sports, so she don't quite understand. And I just told her, I said, each one of those gentlemen have a special story before they got here, and then when they arrived at Kingsville, they all played for Texas A&M, which is still Kingsville. They're Javelinas. There's no difference, as you know, with me. They continue to tell the story of Texas A&M or the Javelina Nation, and did it with excellence, and did it with high character. And it was great to see not only the Texas A&M King, but the world recognize them, that they were 3 of the top 100 players that ever put a helmet on and a uniform on that's ever played the game. Not many schools can say that. And I told the team, I think you was in here yesterday when I told the team that you should be prideful of that. You may not know each one of those gentlemen. Mr. Upshaw has passed on. Darrell came when I missed Darrell one time, and hopefully we can get him and John back. But they have walked the same walk that our guys have walked. They have stayed in the same dorms and went to the same classes. And I told them, I said, why didn't they stop at Kingsville? Why did they continue to move on to greatness? And I told them it's because they believed in themselves and they didn't want to let the people that gave them opportunity down. And I stand convicted of that, because Darrell tweeted at the Javelina Nation, and that's to say a lot, because he knew he had an unbelievable talent, but it was bigger than just a business deal, a scholarship. He knew it started here. He needed somebody to give him an opportunity. And him tweeting at us was like saying, thank you for what you've done for me. And I'm sure John is the same way. He come from humble means, and all he needed was an opportunity. So why can't somebody here today, in any capacity, no matter if it's football or basketball, baseball, any sport, doesn't matter, volleyball, doesn't matter, why can't you have a career or a life of that magnitude? And the only reason why you can't is if you don't believe in you can. So, as you know, I hopefully answered your question. I was emotionally moved. I hope I get to meet those 2 gentlemen that are still alive and tell them thank you, because they have helped us tremendously with just being class acts and helping us with the Javelina brand.
So, Coach Estelle, thank you for your time, and good luck to you against St. Edwards and St. Mary's.
Thank you.
Thank you. Javelina men's basketball fans, welcome back to episode 15 of the Javelina men's basketball show. I have a very, very special guest in his first season, Coach Mike Salinas of Tamuk football. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
So, Coach Salinas, as you enter your first year, but whenever you got that call that you were going to come to Javelina Nation, a place that's very dear to you, what did that mean for you?
It was special. I think anytime you have a chance to come back to your alma mater is a unique opportunity. So for us, for me and my wife, we're both proud Javelinas, and to have an opportunity to come back and make an impact on a place that is a big part of who we are is definitely something that we hold a great value and we take great pride in.
And as for your Twitter account, which I love to see, you always put great things for this university to try to get us out there. I see that you have a hashtag called Unity is Secret. What exactly does that mean?
I think for us to be successful, it's going to take everybody, and we need to make sure that we understand that when great things happen and we look back in a couple years and people ask how we were able to propel our program and move it in the right direction, it's going to be simple, and it's going to be because we're unified as a group.
And as for your relationship with our head men's basketball coach, Johnny Estelle, when did it start, and how's your relationship with him evolved as of late?
I think it goes back to about 1995. Johnny was a great player here, and known him for a long time, and then as we transitioned into this job, it's a unique opportunity to have two of us who are former players back at their alma mater, providing in development and mentorship with our student athletes.
And as for this team, this upcoming team, whenever you go and try to sign these players on National Signing Day, which is fastly approaching, what is the number one thing you try to tell them whenever they try to choose Kingsville as their destination?
We try to let them know that our place is going to be different. We're going to work to build intentional relationships with our guys. We're going to help to make sure that we help them in every aspect of their life, and then challenge them to reach their capacity as a young man.
And as for this basketball team, I know I've seen you at our games, which we greatly appreciate it. We enjoy it. Is there any advice that you give this team as the game gets tougher and the competition gets a lot really where it gets very narrow? Is there any advice as we enter March that you'd like to give our team?
I think that they've done a great job to this point. Coach Estelle and his staff and our kids have done a great job representing our university. They've put themselves in a position to be able to have some success, and as they move forward, they just have to attribute the success that they've had to this point to their preparation. And I think if they do that, they're going to continue to be successful.
Yes, sir. So, Coach Salinas, thank you so much for joining me on the Javelina Men's Basketball Show. Good luck to you. I look forward to seeing all your successes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mike, welcome home, man. It's been a long ride. 1995 we met. I was a player. You was a player. Great times during that time. You know, I find myself often talking to my players about the experiences that we had as a university here, as student athletes. How, you know, we supported you and y'all's run, and how good y'all were as a football team, and how y'all supported us as a basketball team. But tell me what's going through your mind, man, you know, being back here. Was it what you thought it was going to be?
It is. I'm excited, anxious. I think you take all those emotions and build them back into one, and then seeing folks that had an impact in our lives as young men still in positions on this university and in this community. Built some relationships here in my adult life that have lasted a lifetime, and just excited to get back, to be able to get Javelina football back where it deserves to be.
Exactly. You know, and I know when you talk about this university, the passion and the emotion that comes to both of us, it's given us so much. I mean, you know, we both found our wives here. We have degrees from here. We actually both have worked here, left here, and came back here. So in your mind, you know, not that it was on your bucket list or maybe in terms of your professional endeavors, did you ever envision yourself coming back here as the head coach?
I would like to say that I had thought about it, didn't know if it ever come to fruition, so to say, but when the opportunity presented itself, it was one that we felt we needed to take a look at. Never want to live with any regrets, and the good Lord opened the door, and we've jumped in with both feet, and we're ready to attack it.
You know, I know you know, Coach Holmes, man, you know, it was had such a significant impact on this culture of this university, and, you know, from a head coach and AD perspective. And, you know, he was responsible for bringing you here and all the coaches that you had in your positions. And just like Coach Carter was for me. But I say that to say, when you've taken this job, have you had a chance to reach out to Coach or visit with him yet? I know you've been busy because you've been trying to put a staff together and also recruiting class together, but have you had an opportunity to reach out to him?
I have. I talked to him prior to interviewing for the job.
Oh, wow.
I called him just to let him know that I wanted to thank him for everything he'd done for me. I wanted to let him know it was an honor to interview for a job that he was at for a number of years and experienced a ton of success. And I called him after I got the job.
Oh, wow.
So we had a good conversation, really thankful and appreciative for all the coaches that had an impact in my development as a young man. But he was a big part of it because this place is a big part of who I am today.
Exactly. Let me ask you this. What did you take from your experience here as being a Javelina? You know, we always joke about, you know, the 80s group, the 70s group, the 60s group. They all want to talk about their best time here. And we always partial to the 90s. You know, we thought the mid-90s, early 90s was, you know, always the best time. But what did you take in your experience here in your professional endeavors? I
think a lesson we try to teach our guys is that part of this whole experience is about building, you know, real intentional relationships. And I think we're both living proof of that.
Yeah.
Because we've played here, we've coached here on an occasion before, we're back as head coaches. So I think the part of having a great college experience and ensuring that we do that as a team, as coaches, is to center it and focus on building relationships that last. You have a number of
Exactly.
players that you played with, or teammates you played with that you're in contact with. You've had a bunch of guys you coached here that you're still in contact with, and now the responsibility falls on us, so to say, to make sure that our guys that choose to come represent this university, we make this the best place in the country to go to school and participate in college athletics.
Exactly. And when your name came up, and the first thing I thought about was a guy that had an unbelievable work ethic and pride and commitment to excellence. I observed you as an administrator, as a coach, and I noticed what you've done at the high school level, everywhere you've been. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for you, as you know. I always have. And I know that, man, that I have nothing but the utmost confidence that you're going to do this, because you're a man that does it the right way. You know how to do it. You know what it looks like. You've already put together a great staff, and you know you can't do it by yourself. So, you know, that tells me a lot about who you are as a person. And I'm kind of jealous, I got to admit this, because I've always kind of liked being the only guy that was an alumnus on staff. But if it's one person I would want to share the limelight with, is you. And I really want to welcome you back here and thank you for all you've done and what what you're going to do. And I always know that you're a Javelina.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you, and you set the bar for us, so we're going to have to go to work.
Mike Salinas, everybody.
Javelina men's basketball fans, welcome back to episode 15 of the Javelina men's basketball show. I'm alongside a very special guest, Jake Majors. Jake is a redshirt freshman from Veterans Memorial High School. So, Jake, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jake, we know your position and your minutes vary here and there, but the guys that are in front of you, Rashawn Thomas, Trey Flowers, what have they taught you for your upcoming years of Coach Estelle's system that you could benefit off in your next few years?
You know, one thing about this program in general is that Coach Estelle, he doesn't coach me any differently than he would any other player. He coaches all of us the same. You're going to get your butt chewed the same. You're going to get glory the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about having great guys like Rashawn and Trey, who play my position, I just get to learn every day. I go against them in practice, which makes me better, and hopefully I get to make them better as well. And if we're winning, you know, that's all that really matters. They teach me a lot, and it should help me in the years come, next year and the following year.
And as for this team, we've seen a lot of success. We're 16-5, we're 12-3 in conference, and we're rolling. How fun is it to be a part of this team?
Oh, it's a great time, man. All the guys are great. We don't have any individuals. We're all focused on a team. That starts with the coaching staff. That starts with, you know, us, you as well. You do anything for the team. And it's just a great program to be a part of every day. In practice, we have fun. We get our work in, though. But, yeah.
And as for your guys that we understand, if you look down the roster, you have two guys that are from Corpus Christi, your boys, Will Share and Creighton Avery. What's it like knowing that you have those guys here in Kingsville with you as you continue your basketball journey?
You know, it's different, man. I've known Will since I was, well, he's been my best friend since I was kindergarten. I've known Creighton since 4th grade. We played basketball together, played on the same team growing up, and it's just a lot of fun having two guys that, you know, grow up with playing the sport we love, and it just makes basketball just that much more fun, just playing with your good friends, and which is everybody. But knowing these guys that are from Corpus, hopefully we get to represent the hometown, and yeah, so that's it.
And I asked Will a question. Whenever y'all at Veterans Memorial, y'all made school history, y'all went to the state tournament.
Sir.
How does that help as you go into the college level, knowing that you made history and that you've already been to that point in the basketball season late whenever it really mattered the most?
You know, it really helps. Obviously, it's not college, which I plan to do this year and years to come.
Oh, yeah.
But in high school, it really helps going really deep in the playoffs. Been in big games, know what it's like to be, you know, in the playoff time, one and done. You got to win or else you go home. And it was an exciting. Coach Estelle talks about it all the time. You know, he won a conference championship here, and when we went to state, we won the regional championship. And it's a feeling you don't get back. You know what I mean? It's a feeling that obviously I want to experience here at the college level, and I want this team to experience because we deserve it.
And one more question that I'd like to conclude with all my guests, a fun fact. Is there a fun fact that you think Javelina Nation should know about Jake Majors? Well, I know one right now. I'm looking at the hair. I mean.
Well, you know, this hair, I did it for this show, you know, the Dre Pod. You know, had to do it. This isn't my only time doing this hair, but I guess a fun fact about me would be, I was thinking about this. I have not drank a soda since 6th grade. I haven't drank
Interesting.
one soda, man. So
And you feel all the benefits of not doing that?
yeah, a little bit. You know, after a while, you get used to it. It was hard at first, but yeah, try to be healthy, man.
Sounds good. Jake Majors, thank you for joining me, and good
Thanks,
luck to
Jake.
you this
Appreciate
weekend. Go Habs.
Go Habs.
Javelina men's basketball fans, welcome back to episode 15 of the Javelina men's basketball show. I have a very special guest, Javelina's own Fred Nuesch. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
So, Fred, as you look at this team and their recent success, and well, as the season's gone on, they've gotten better. Do you see any characteristics of relating to the teams from 92 and 96 that won a conference championship?
Yeah, they're winning. Yeah, I tell you, the thing I like about this team that probably maybe have advantage over those is the fact that there's so much hustle. Their quickness, their speed, the way they hustle, the way they wear the other team out, that's all a quality which I think the fans love. This team has got that. And those other teams, you know, they had a little bit different style, the ones that won in the 1990s. But, you know, there's something to that. I mean, they all got the same quality. They all want to win. They all work hard. They really hustle. And this year's team's really exciting because the Lone Star Conference is tough. I mean, it's really tough. I mean, there's been as many as 4 or 5 of our teams ranked in the top 25 this year. So it's a tough one to get through, and still a lot of good games left to go. But the Javelinas are really, you know, in really good shape right now. And if they can just take care of business, it looks like it's going to be, again, one of the banner years for us.
And as we talk about this team, and we know what you mean, what this university means to you, Texas A&M University, Kingsville, how much more does it mean when this team wins championship? What does it mean, like, for the university, for the people, for the fans, people like you?
Oh, it means everything because, of course, any team, any athletic team that wins here, the other athletic teams benefit from it because I know back when we had the great football teams, basketball, track, all those other sports, said it helped them because it gave the school recognition, it gave the athletic department recognition, and it didn't matter which particular sport it was. They all help each other. So to have a team win a championship, to have a team winning, looking good, like now bringing people into the gym, it gets the other teams recognition too. I mean, everybody in athletics, they're all. It is one nation. You know, it is the Javelina nation, and we all everybody benefits from, you know, when the teams win. And this, and of course, like I say, this basketball team is not only winning, but it's exciting. You know, they play exciting ball, fast, up speed, or what I think that's the word. But anyway, they play what fans like. They're very fan pleasing, you know.
And as you take a trip down memory lane of all your memories here at Texas A&M University, Kingsville, what is the #1 memory that stands out to you the most?
Oh my gosh, I've been here 51 years. You can't ask that. We've won national championships, we've won conference championships, we've had, like I tell the recruits that come in here, we've had some of the best teams, some of the best individuals, some of the best coaches in the history of college sports. And so, you know, I've worked with so many of those over that period of time, that longer period of time, there is no particular one because there have been some in basketball, there's been some in football, track, all sports. They've all had great moments and great individuals, and we've got, you know, just this weekend, the top 100 players in the history of the NFL were announced. 3 of those are Javelinas, and that means 3% of the greatest football players to ever play in the NFL were Javelinas. I mean, that's an unbelievable honor, and I don't know, I haven't looked, but I would doubt that there's any non-Division I school has had that many, and a whole lot of the Division I's haven't. So, but no, I could never pick out one. If I'd been here maybe 5 years, I could, but being here 50 years, I couldn't say. There's been so many more big moments than sad moments. We haven't had many of those, and so it's been really a great time.
And as we take a look around at all the sports, and I know coaches from each sport try to recruit the best possible athletes they could find, what is your advice to those athletes as they as they think about choosing Kingsville as their next destination?
There's not a better place that they can come to. There's not a place they can go to that has a better reputation. There's not one that's had a tradition in sports any better than we have.
and the fans here are good. And Kingsville's got anything that you would want. I mean, it's not a huge town, but it's got anything that you would want. We've got, the stores and the eating places and all that that a big city has. They have more of them, but we have plenty here for everybody. And the university is a good university. It's friendly. It's a beautiful place. The campus is pretty. The weather is nice year round, which to me would be a real plus for a lot of the sports, because we're playing right now at baseball, softball already. I'm sure there are a big percentage of the teams in the country haven't even seen their fields yet. It's covered with snow, and so all these things are pluses for South Texas. And I can say that sincerely because I'm not a South Texan. I wasn't even born in Texas, but I came to Texas and I came down here 51 years ago, and obviously liked it.
So, Mr. Nuesch, thank you so much for joining me on the Javelina Men's Basketball Show. We look forward to seeing you for the remainder of the season in our games.
Well, I'll be there.
Yes, sir. Go Havs. Javelina Nation, thank you for listening to episode 15 of the Javelina Men's Basketball Show. Once again, my name is Landin, and I'd like to say thank you to my guests, Coach Johnny Estelle, Coach Mike Salinas of Tamuk Football, and the legendary Fred Nuesch, as well as Jake Majors. The Javelinas will be back on the court this Thursday and Saturday against St. Mary's and St. Edwards. We look forward to seeing y'all as we conclude the 2019-2020 season. Thank you so much, and go Havs.